All right, we're here with our Period 2 Honors Stats students. I see some students are already starting to make a histogram. I love it. That's so awesome. Hopefully you guys at home that are watching are excited for this lesson on making and describing box plots. We're going to be using some data that's made up about fictionalized fast food chains. We have Moose Burgers, represented by the data values in set A, and McTofu in set B. And if I look at the sheet that everyone is looking at, this is the weekly payrolls for these two imaginary restaurants. All right, so the first thing I want to do is I want to find some statistics. In order to make a box plot, you need the median and the quartile. So let's find the median of Moose Burgers. So 133.5. So the median is $133.50. And what about for McTofu? So we'd have the median of B, which is $120. All right, let's find the first quartile and the third quartile for each. So it may have been a few days for this. So quartile, and then you're going to do A, comma, and put 1 for first quartile. So this is the first quartile for the data values from Moose Burgers. So that's 123. What about for McTofu? 110. And quartile 3 for both. That's 144 for Moose Burgers. And let's do it for tofu. $132. Okay, I'm going to pause here so everyone can catch up, make sure we're all on the same page. Are there any questions so far on how to find the median and the quartiles? I told you guys I would show you how to find the minimum and the maximum. So let's go ahead and find the min and the max. So if you type in MIN of your data value, so we have data set A, the min of Moose Burgers is 110. And the max of Moose Burgers is 160. Do the same thing for McTofu. 100 for McTofu. And for the maximum, 180. All right, so what we have done is we have just written down what we call the 5-number summary. And I apologize if your brain is not okay with this. I guess in theory I should have done min, then quartile 1, then median, then quartile 3, then max. So I apologize for the order. But ultimately, you want those 5 numbers. Any questions on how to find the 5 numbers? All right, are you guys ready for your first box plot?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Man, I'm super pumped. Okay, so I'm going to go slow here because I know it's our first time doing it. So make sure you have your hands ready on your Chromebook because we're going to be typing in and doing things on Desmos. So I'm going to wait till everybody has their hand on their Chromebook, ready to type. Okay, it looks like we're all ready. So you're going to click to a new line, right, a new line, and you're going to type box plot, open the parenthesis, and we're going to start with Moose Burgers, A, and just close it. Now you might notice there's nothing happening. So we need to make sure we get everything going on our grid So do you remember that wrench that's in like the top right corner? Click on that wrench, and let's change the x-axis. What was the minimum value for Moose Burgers? What was the minimum value? What was it? 110, okay. What is the minimum value for McTofu? 100. So I want to make sure that I can see both of those. So I'm going to go 10 below that and put 90. Okay. And then for the maximum value, what is the maximum for Moose Burgers? 160. What about for McTofu? So I'm going to do 190 because that's 10 past there. I don't need a y-axis, so I just check that box so it goes away. And then the grid, I don't like the grid there, so I check that box on the grid so it goes away as well. And then if I click away, you can see your first box plot. My goodness, this is exciting. Right? Gosh, this is exciting. Okay, now, does everyone see that this, if you were to look at this, it's much harder to describe the shape of a box plot. Histograms, that's why I always prefer histograms, because histograms are easier to see the shape. But if you look at this, I mean, it looks like it could possibly be symmetric, right? The box almost looks perfect in terms of the same width on either side of the median. Maybe, do you guys see the upper tail, the upper whisker, I would say? The upper whisker might be a little longer, okay? Any questions on this process? Okay, now let's do the other one. And before we do that, do you guys see how it says offset? You see how it says offset underneath your box plot? Type a 3 in there instead of a 1. See how it moves it up? Because you'll see that I'm going to put McTofu's box plot underneath it. All right, so let's do box plot of B for McTofu. All right, now here, this is the first moment in this class, and I apologize for everyone listening. This is the first moment that Desmos has come up short. I know, guys. Don't worry, we're going to get through this moment together. But you see that blue, my box plot is blue. Do you see my blue one? That one is incorrect. And I want to show you why. So, everyone go, you should have somewhere on your paper where you can do a little work. All right, I want to find the IQR for each of these. Okay, so what is the IQR for Moose Burgers? Remember, that's Q3 minus Q1. It's $21. What is the IQR for McTofu? $22. Now, do you remember what number we're going to multiply each of those by? It's an arbitrary number. 1.5. So you're going to multiply times 1.5, each of those numbers. If you do not want to do anything by yourself, you can go to Desmos and type in, I know, I'm just showing that people can do this. 21 times 1.5 is 31.5. And this one, it's a little easier because half of 22 is 11. When you add those together, you get 33. Okay, I'm going to pause here. How are we doing? Please ask questions. Don't just feel like, oh, I don't want to ask. Please ask a question. Someone at home listening will have that question of my over 100 subscribers. Anyone? No questions. We're all good? Now, let me show you how to calculate the lower fence and the upper fence for each of these. So from now on, if you see LF and UF, know that those stand for lower fence and upper fence. All right, does everyone see how we calculated these 1.5 times the IQR? Those are your those are your main numbers. What you're going to do is you're going to do quartile 1 minus 31.5. Quartile 3 plus 31.5. Same thing for this one. Quartile 1 minus 33. Quartile 3 plus 33. So let's get those numbers. What is 123 minus 31.5? 123 minus 31.5. 91.5. So our lower fence is 91.5. What about our upper fence? What is 144 plus 31.5? What is it? Did you add the minimum or did you add the quartile 3? So do 144 plus 31.5. It's going to be 175.5, right? Yes, Charlize? Yes. Okay, cool. And then for McTofu on the other side, what is 110 minus 33? What is 110 minus 33? 77. And what is 132 plus 33? Excellent. All right, now I'm going to pause here. I'm going to make sure we're all good. Who has questions about what we just did? Ask them, please. Yes, question. Kiara. Okay, why am I doing this? I want to see if we have any outliers. Okay, so do you see, let's do it for moose burgers. The lower fence is 91.5. What is the minimum value for moose burgers? 110. Is 110 in the other yard? No. 110 is above the lower fence. So if it's not past the lower fence, right, it's not below the lower fence, it's not an outlier. So there's no outlier on that side for moose burgers. What about my maximum of 160? Is that above my upper fence? No. Maybe I should do it visually. Should I do it visually? So if you think of this is a fence and this is a fence, anything on the outside of your fences is considered an outlier. Bless you. So if these are my fences, if this is 91.5 and this is 175.5, do I have anybody at Moose Burgers who gets paid less than $91.50 a week or more than $175.50 a week? The answer is no. No one at Moose Burgers is making anything that's on either side of these fences. So for Moose Burgers, there are no outliers. So does everybody see my red box plot? That's perfect. My red box plot is perfect. Good job, Desmos. Okay? And whatever color yours is. Great. So, I don't care. So, the next one. If I made this fences, and it was 77, and this is 165, do I have anyone at McTofu that makes below $77? Or anyone at McTofu that makes above 165 a week? The answer is yes. There's one person, right? One person makes, what is it, 180? One person makes 180. So 180 is an outlier. We have our first outlier. 180 is an outlier. Oh my gosh. Now, so that means my McTofu box plot is incorrect. All right? Because I showed you guys earlier during the lecture that outliers, when you do box plots, should have a little circle. Unless this is an extreme outlier. This is not an extreme. So why is there no circle? Because Desmos has not created a box plot that can do that yet. All right? So I'm hoping someday soon. Yeah, I should tweet at him. I do follow them. Okay, so I'm going to go back all the way up to the top. All the way up to the top. Does everybody go into your B data set and scroll over till you get to 180? Do you see the 180? I want you to delete the 180. Just the 180. Please don't delete the whole thing. Now, do you see my blue up here? My blue one up here. It's almost perfect. What does it need to be perfect? It needs a circle at 180. So do you guys see letter A where it says to sketch your box plots? That's where you should sketch.
I don't get it.
What don't you get?
Why does it need a circle 180 if you took it out?
Why So I took it out to show you that it's an outlier, right? And so basically I'm saying I took it out because it's an outlier. But when I do my box plot, it's still a part of the data set. So I have to put a circle for outliers, all right? So that's how we're going to get around Desmos cannot do this. What I wish Desmos could do is make this blue one with the 180 and a circle of 180. And I'm hopeful that in maybe a few months, they'll create it. All right, I'll send them a tweet. Yeah, so I would sketch it, literally, Daisy, I would sketch it. I would make this, like I'd take a photo of my mind and put it right there. And when my children are where you are, that probably will be able to happen. All right, but not yet. You still got to sketch it. Right? My children will be able to say, oh, I want that on my paper, ding, and it's there. Now, again, like we did with the histograms, I get this question every time we also draw the box plots, right? If you're sketching something for me to grade, which I'm not going to grade this, but if you're sketching something for me to grade, you would need to include a title, okay, some labels. I don't necessarily need units. What would be nice is if you put the axis here, like the 100, 110, like the scale, and if you told me dollars, that would give me the units. All right, so let me show you what I'm talking about. What I would have on my paper is this exact same thing with a blue circle for me at 180. Like that. You ever see what I'm talking about? And this is what? This is money. And this is, let's see, weekly payroll for hamburgers and McTofu. How you feeling, Daisy? Feel good? Okay, cool. Okay, now, I know many of you are still sketching. I'm going to move past this. All right, I'm going to move past. You can sketch it another time. I'm not worried about it being perfect. Doesn't need to be amazing. Just want to get it down. I really want to answer questions B and C. All right? Who wants to write a few sentences comparing these distributions? How could you write something about the difference or the similarities between these two? Who's got something? Remember, this is Moose Burgers, and this is McTofu. All right, who's got something they want to say about these two places? Who's got something? Anything? Okay? Yes, so distribution is shape, center, spread. You can't really say much about shape, right? So let's go with really center and spread. What would you say about the centers, the medians? What would you say about the medians up here? Remember, look at the middle of the box. Here's the median for Moose Burgers, and here's the median for McTofu. This median is even greater than quartile 3 of McTofu. See how the median Moose Burgers is even past quartile 3? This median, that's the median for Moose Burgers, it's larger than quartile 3 of McTofu. Yes, and the median is quartile 2. So the first one is quartile 1, then median, then quartile 3. Now these points at the end of the whiskers are usually the min and the max. But they're not always the min and the max. Because is this one the max? No, our max ended up being an outlier. Okay? So students always think, oh, it's always the min and the max. No, that's not always the case. Technically, if you're telling a statistician this, it's always the values, all right, the highest values that are inside your fences. That's where you stop your whiskers. The highest values inside your fences. Okay? Now, what about for the spread? What were the IQRs like? What were the IQRs like? You have it on your paper. They're very similar, right? They're pretty similar. So really, when it comes down to it, when you look at these box plots, how are you going to answer the last question? Where would you rather work? Where would you rather work? Maybe neither is the answer, but if you had to pick one, where would you rather work? Will you say it again, Dave? So he's saying McTofu because he wants to be the 180. So he's choosing that one because it has the highest weekly payroll. Now, David, when you get an entry-level job at a fast food restaurant, you're probably not going to be making the most money, right? So it's probably not going to be you. So where should you want to work? Yes, Moose Burgers, because the median is much higher than the median at McTofu. All right, and that's why we've been talking a median, because once I see an outlier, should I be talking about the average? No, the average is going to be completely changed by that outlier. So for part C, I'm going to write, I want to work at Moose Burgers because the median payroll value, the median wage at Moose Burgers is higher than the median wage at McTofu.
Why are the workers getting paid less? The main guys.
Great question. I feel like you've gone away from the statistical realm and you've gone into a question of, is that ethical, right? And that's what our country has been dealing with for many years, right? The CEOs get paid 800 times a regular worker, right? And in some cases more. Yeah, Google it. Find out what CEOs get paid. Any questions on this process and more about all this process with desmos, because this is the stuff that you're going to have to create on your own. That's why I recorded it. No questions? All right. Thank you guys for listening. Hopefully you enjoyed it at home, and make sure to like and subscribe whenever you get a chance. Thanks. I'm out.